So hello everyone, today we are sketching this, which is a little sketch of Fortnum and Mason. I'll explain in the video exactly how I'm putting this together, this sort of semi-abstract urban landscape. And I'll also explain why I'm calling it a sort of Christmas sketch, what this means to me, and why having these little traditions for yourself in your art can make the world of difference, just change how you approach your art and how you feel about it. But without further ado, let's get sketching. If you do like it, please do leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And of course, if you want to subscribe, I'll be extremely happy. So let's get sketching. I've got my fine nibbed Lamy fountain pen here. And we've got this building on, it's Fortnum and Mason. We've got it on a lovely sort of interesting bit of perspective here. And we're just going to start. I'm just going to go straight in with it. Pen upside down and start just capturing some of these outlines. And this is not really about accuracy at all. This is one of those images which is fun to just get, for me, a bit of sort of semi-abstract feel for the place rather than being stuck to having to get it perfectly accurate. And I'm going to be doing my sort of standard bit of semi-continuous line. So the feel of continuous line drawing is what I enjoy. If you haven't seen much of my stuff before, I love that it makes you simplify, it makes you make decisions, sort of makes you be an artist rather than try and copy an image out. But I also don't need to stick to any rules, so I don't need to keep my pen down, I don't need to force myself to anything. So I'm quite relaxed with how I approach it, but I know what I want from the style. So I know that doing some continuous line makes it easy. And to do that, I just move around the image and we can work in these sort of lines of perspective initially. So we can get in these sort of big shapes. So the first big shape is this polygon. I'm not sure which exact shape it is. Rhomboid, I suppose. And then the next shapes are these sort of stripes which are formed by lines of perspective. And we don't have to get the whole thing in either. We can pick bits we decide are key. We can leave some of our windows out, for example. You can see that I'm sort of manipulating the perspective as well. So it looks like our horizon line's somewhere up here, which of course it isn't, but that is sort of what I felt like doing today. For those who don't know, the horizon line is about our eye level. So the horizon line could be here if we're looking at this image from a window here. But if we're on the ground floor, we expect the horizon line to be here. And the horizon line is where all the lines of perspective would be flat, and above it they'd be curving down. But it's okay to make changes, to have a little play and just see what happens. Especially if we're doing something semi-abstract, we're after more of the effect. And I think by manipulating these, we can create that really condensed effect of perspective. And that gives us a real idea of how big the building is, or how close it is, or how complicated it is. Lots of different things. I'm going to get all these people in, so I'm going to do a little bit of just sketching around to leave some nice gaps somewhere I can fill up. And there's little bits that we can add in as well, like these railings. Now again, you see that in the image the railings cross over, but because we've manipulated our viewpoint, we can separate the railings out from our actual building. We've got some fun bits coming in. We've got these street lights, not street lights, traffic lights. There we go, got there eventually. I like them as a foreground, so I've made the line bolder. A bold line brings things forwards, of course. Now we can go and we can find more and more of these windows. We've got some of them in already, but we can just build in a few more. Now that we've got more of our skeleton there, our framework of this building, we can see what works. We can see how much extra detail to add. Little details like adding in a couple of balconies, for example. There is a balcony there, we can add in more. We can make the changes we want to. We've also got in the distance much smaller buildings. We can be very abstract with these because all we need is that sense of busyness. And then going off the side here, we've got more buildings and they're going to follow these same lines of perspective. We can get the sort of sides, we can get these chimneys in, which are lovely little touches, I always think. And then we can add a couple of windows. What I'm going to try and do is leave this side relatively blank, I think. We'll see what happens. But I'm going to start leaving it nice and blank. Because then we've got this flow through the image. So we've got all these people and then all this busyness up here. I think that would be an interesting way of displaying what's going on here. Got a little street lamp here. Again, foreground, so bolder line. And we can just, again, be very abstract, very loose with the buildings that are going off over on this side of our page. And I'm drawing this image because this is one of my favourite Christmas images. I don't ever really go to Fortnum and Mason, but it feels extremely proper and British, and you know, when you're in there, everything's very nice. And the times I do go there are maybe for some stocking fillers or some nicely packaged coffee for Christmas and that kind of thing. So this is one of my favourite things. Just like I sketch a robin every Christmas, I often sketch a tree. I almost always just feel a bit Fortnum and Masony, and that's why we're sketching this. And I think it's really important to have those kinds of feelings about art, to have little things which make you happy, and the reason I'm doing this is just because it makes me a bit happy. Moving on to the people now, and I'm going to kind of get their heads in and just gradually build up. And see, I don't think we'll need to put much below, because if we see what we're doing, just by building up some heads and the bodies and little sort of shoulder shapes, we're kind of making it busy, and it's really obvious with the traffic light, with the scene that's going on around. It's really obvious that these are a load of people in our scene, and we don't need to overdraw them. Urban sketching is about getting the flavour of a place, and this has already got the flavour of a very busy street. Gonna just try and find a couple more interesting details to suggest back here. Just making things a bit more busy, really, more than anything else. And we can start adding in a couple of bolder lines as we do this. And bringing some of these lines down. Now that we've got our people, we can sort of complete the rest of this image. Couple of windows maybe here. Again, just enough to suggest what's going on. And I think I'm actually now pretty much happy with this image. Maybe just some flow lines to flow us towards the edge of the page. But I'm going to call that sketch done. And I'm going to move on to the watercolours. Now the watercolours, just going to use one sort of medium-sized Chinese brush. Lovely brush for watercolours, lovely brush for creating texture, and also lovely brush for carrying lots of water. I've got a litre of water here, so despite the fact we've got a very small page, I just love drawing with loads of water. And the feature I like bringing out in this kind of sketching, number one, an interesting sky. So I like the portrait because it gives us that sky sitting above. That's why I sketch my landscapes portrait, as silly as that is. I like the randomness, so let's get some splashes in. This is an interesting sort of reference, isn't it? It's got a very faintly blue sky at the top. Then it's kind of glowing, it's pushing at us. So let's just get that effect with a little bit of some yellow to glow. This is quinacridone gold. So not strictly yellow, I suppose, but a lovely colour just to give that force of light coming towards us. This whole side of the image is very light. So what I'm actually going to do is join the image top to bottom down here where we've got the emptiness and we've got the shadow. And let's just try some shadow colours. So a little bit of Perylene Violet here as a really gentle shadow type colour. and a little bit of moon glow to start creating some slightly different textures as well. And we can bring all those lovely textures in all across these sort of buildings on the left. And look where that shadow goes. So yes, this is a sort of, I kind of describe it, semi-abstract drawing and sketch, but we can take elements of realism, so we can find the shadows and we can use those shadows to create a real sense of flow across the image. So our shadows are coming into these buildings, are coming down, and then we can start just deepening them a bit. Now that we've built them up, we can really build them up. So we've got the framework, we can start working on our textures. These people are in fact also in shadow, but they create a lovely frame. So the colours can be framed by this negative space. Well, it's not really negative space because we've got sketching in it, but it's an interesting way of creating negative space to fill something with ink and then fill the other half with watercolour. And then we're doing the same down here. These people are sort of framed by that process. We can get a little bit of colour perhaps. We just want some splashes of gold, and then we can work those in as well, because then we've got the idea of light pooling along. But I do like being able to make things murky, and so just continuing to work these colours until they feel really interesting. And don't forget, watercolours are going to fade, so whatever it looks like now, you can take it down a notch or two in your head, because you know as the paint dries, that's what's going to happen. It's going to come down that notch or two, or maybe even 3 sometimes. I know, for example, colours like cobalt blue seem to stay very prominent, whilst some of the more grungy colours, and perhaps some of the brighter colours even, tend to be a bit weaker and more transparent the more they fade. Going to just do a little bit of highlighting, creating these textures. So do you see how that creates this lovely cauliflower texture on the page? Just dropping in those little bits. And this is where we're sort of going, yeah, we're making art at this point. We're really going beyond just the image. We've got the image, we've taken a lot of clues from it, but now we're watching what happens and moving around it. And do feel free to be much tighter than this, less expressive, more realistic if you want. But it's a lovely freeing way, I think, to sketch, just moving around, finding these little touches you want to add in. And you can notice that even with this really big brush, we can get real details in. So I could pick out a couple of windows and I can get that colour to sit just in those windows. So we don't have to sort of be too picky about our brush and things like that. You can already see the colours have faded quite dramatically in places. So we can come back in and just continue working in these little blobs. I've got my page on a slight incline. I always have it on about a 10-degree incline, and that's why you're getting these lovely drips of water, which are also happening because the page is sort of buckling a little bit and finding itself squishing and creating pools in different places. And soon I'll stop. But just a couple of little touches. I'm liking how these things are spreading and creating such interesting textures. Now I want these traffic lights. I'm going to introduce my favourite colour, my favourite red at least, a bit of Scarlet Lake, because I want these traffic lights to have their own glow. I think traffic lights, car lights, things like that become really fascinating if you just give them a highlight and just go, yeah, this is a light. Look at it glow with my lovely wet on wet watercolours. And I actually think the same with chimneys. So just touching in a bit there. And it's good to use one, if you use a colour, it's good to use it in a couple of places. Don't just let it sit in one place. But now we've got it in 2 places, my brain copes better with the presence of that colour. Just gonna create a little bit of light in this shadow. And then a bit of darkness around where I've pulled out that light. These gentle little touches. And there we go. A few splashes to kind of bring the page together. I think I can do another little touch of colour up in the sky. And there we go, that's my little sketch done. I know it's not super Christmassy by any means, but this is my Christmas sketch because it's Fortnum and Mason. It's what reminds me of Christmas, and because it's a little tradition of mine to draw this every year. I'll try and remember to link in the description or in the comments some of my other Fortnum and Mason sketches through the years, so you can see the different ways I've approached this same scene. But there you go, that is my sketch done. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you have a good Christmas, and thank you for watching. If you do enjoy, please do like and subscribe and leave a comment. Here's a bit which needs a touch.